Good evening, race fans, and welcome to North Wilkesboro Speedway for the North Wilkesboro 200 for round number 6 of the Velocity Racing League 2022 Cup Series. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second. I hope everyone is excited and ready for the action here today that is about to unfold as drivers prepare to set off their qualifying for the first time today here at North Wilkesboro, the short track here on the schedule. So, again, if you were here last week for the race prior, bear with me for just a moment here as we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of our drivers currently making their way around the track, getting themselves ready to go, and figure out where they're going to place themselves on the starting grid for today's race. And I got to say, folks, after last week's race at Hotlanta, it was the Hotlanta 250, but it was at Atlanta Motor Speedway where we saw 250 laps there at Atlanta Motor Speedway, excuse me. My brain having a little bit of a moment there as Tony Hilbrand, Scott Shire, Michael Keithley taking the top 3 podium positions in their place respectively as they were listed. Tony Hilbrand setting off a time of 18.83 as his best time here today. Howie Briss, you can see just on the bottom of the screen those purple sectors being clicked off there. Only 2 sectors obviously here, being a short oval track that we have here for today's race. 200 laps that we are going to be completing here today as Jaden Hopp takes that provisional pole spot for the time being, setting himself up on top with an 18.66. Howie Briss setting off an 18.69 as his best time here. And if you're looking on the left-hand side of your screen on the timing tower, you can see the drivers' best times and where they are currently placing themselves on the tower. Ooh, Daniel Mosteller, a little bit of a moment there coming out of turn 2. Turn 4. Not exactly sure what. Probably just cold tires, not able to get those tires warmed up quite fast enough, and that is one tricky part here for qualifying on these short tracks. You don't get a whole lot of time out on the track, and really it's not enough to get those tires fully warmed up to the proper pace that a lot of drivers here would like to probably prefer to set them to. So that is going to complete our qualifying for the time being. Actually, there is still one other driver here out on track and a few other drivers that have not made their way down onto track to complete their first qualifying lap for today. Kevin Foster out on track currently in the 8 machine. Going to be completing his first time lap here today as well as James Coulibaly in the 12. Going to also be coming out onto track to complete his first time lap as he comes across the line. And this is his first official timed lap. Kevin Foster having placed himself in 8th place, ironically, after also utilizing the number 8 machine on his car. Let's see where James Coulibaly is going to place himself here in the 12 machine. Comes across the line in 13th for his first official time. Let's see if he's able to scrape together some time here. Coming out of turn 3 into 4, onto the front straight. Let's see if this time around is going to be enough for the 12 to get himself up a little bit further, and it is, pushing Kevin Foster out of that 8th place spot and working his way into that comfortable 8th place spot here for the start of today's race. And just under a minute left to go before qualifying wraps up. The checkered flag will fly, and we will be racing very, very shortly. Marcus Regal in the chat saying howdy do. How is everyone doing? Marcus, I am doing fantastic. I hope that you are doing fantastic as well and ready to witness this race here. Let's see what these guys have in store for us. Last week, Hotlanta 250. That was, well, frankly, once things started to get a little settled out, there wasn't really a whole lot that you could do to really get yourself up positions. You were kind of left in the air, if you will. Not really able to gain back any of that lost time. You're kind of just working with what you got, and that's ultimately what we're going to see for a lot of these races that are on those larger ovals here for these super late models. But that qualifying session has concluded. The checkered flag has flown, and drivers are now going to go ahead and get ready for the start of the race here today as we patiently await our starting grid to appear for us on our screens here momentarily. And here it is, Jaden Hopp in the 81 machine taking that first place starting spot in the 81 machine. Howie Briss in the 97 taking second place. Rounding out your first row, Tony Hillbrands in the 92 in the third place spot with Benny Hogan in the in the 5 machine in your fourth place spot. Rounding out your second row, Scott Shire in the 4 in fifth place. Sean Williams in the 6-9 in sixth place. Rounding out your third row, Michael Keithley in the 53 in seventh place. James Coulibaly in the 12 in eighth place. Kevin Foster in the 8 taking ninth place. Matthew Fitz in the 69 going to be taking 10th place. And Sean Williams, I did mistake him as 6'9". It is 8'9". Kind of hard to read there. Anyhow, Nicholas Lavelle in the 10 machine taking 11th. Charles Jurek in the 76 coming in 12th place for the start of today's race. Daniel Mosteller in the 87 taking 13th. Cody Welsh in the 85 taking 14th. Tom Murcia in the 68 in 15th. Patrick Colby in 16th. Thomas Sewell in 17th, Michael Ashmore in 18th, and Bill Harkins rounding out our field in that 19th place spot. 19 drivers here at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the start of the North Wilkesboro 200 for the 2022 Velocity Racing League 2022 Cup Series. Again, 200 laps that we are going to be completing here today, and I fully expect, if things stay green, if things stay consistent for these drivers here, and I was watching them a little bit during their practice, seeing how things are going to be shaping up here for these drivers, we might see some pretty solid green flag run here, folks. Now, North Wilkesboro can be a little temperamental sometimes from what I've seen in prior races in various other leagues with, well, actually the same exact car. So, given that we are here with the super late models, this is well, going to be some classic short track action for the folks watching at home as the pace car dives its way down into pit road. And we are going to start off the action here today as the green flag will fly. Howie Brish, Jaden Hopp side by side as they work their way into turn 1. We have side by side action all the way through as we have just gone green here. Jaden Hopp not quite able to keep up with the 97 of Howie Briss as Howie working his way around the 81 as they work their way out of turn 4 down the front straight here once again, coming back around for the first official completed lap here at North Wilkesboro. Gotta say, things are looking quite calm, quite steady for a lot of these guys here for the moment. A lot of side-by-side racing here, especially as we look even a little bit further back with Nicholas Lavelle in the 10 machine, duking it out there with Matthew Fitz. You can see just down on the inside as they work their way now down on the front straight once more. Nicholas Lavelle duking it out with Kevin Foster on his outside. Kevin goes way wide there. Nicholas staying down low, tracking behind the 12 of James Coulibaly. James in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich for just a moment there. Keeps it together very well, but he's going to find himself in another 3-wide situation here between Charles Jurek as well as Matthew Fitz there for just a moment. But James going to find his way around that 6'9" machine, only just enough to possibly get his way. There he goes, able to find his way actually around the 85 of Cody Welsh here as well. Lap 5 of 200. These laps are going to click off very, very quickly for all of these drivers. Again, the lap times are around 18.5 to 19.5 seconds. So, actually, 18.5 is a lie. Closer to 18 3/4 seconds. That's a more accurate number. Anyway, a lot of these guys here are starting to settle out already into that single file line, getting themselves nice and comfortable and ready for the long run. This is early on in the race, and you know there's going to be drivers that they're going to feel comfortable being able to kind of work their way through this pack and get themselves out in front as quickly as possible and work from there. But there's other drivers here that are more comfortable kind of playing the pit strategy, kind of playing, just reading what other drivers are doing, being patient. So we're going to see a lot of that here tonight, I do have a feeling. 200 laps here at North Wilkesboro. Probably one of my personal favorite short tracks as far as, well, for competitive passing and just close racing in general. North Wilkesboro tends to have quite a bit of that, as we have action brewing. James Coulibaly involved in a little bit of an incident here on lap 9 of 200. Doesn't throw out the caution. We're going to stay green here. Looks like the rest of the field was just behind that 12 machine, whatever happened there. So let's take a quick look at the replay of the 12 machine and see exactly what happens here. Coming into 3 and out of 4. Yeah, looks like that rear end just got a little bit unsettled. Let's take one more look at that, get a little bit closer angle if we can, possibly. Not quite the angle that I'm looking for here, but you get the idea. James is essentially finding a section of the track where grip is not very prominent, and is going to find himself now all the way down into 18th place. Going to have to work his way back up this field and try and recoup some of that loss. As Tony Hilbrand's and Jaden Hopp both are side by side, almost door to door. Coming out of turn 4 down the front stretch is going to be Tony Hilbrand's holding on to that second place spot, as Jaden Hopp here. Since the start of the race, these two have both kind of been lingering around one another, kind of swapping back and forth. Who's going to make the pass? Who's going to kind of hold back, stay calm, and stay collected? Because it seems Jaden Hopp is going to be the one to kind of take things a little bit easier here and just stay behind the 92 of Tony Hilbrand's and see what he can do here. As this is, again, this is only the beginning of the race here. So as we're looking around the track, seeing what all of our drivers are doing, and just kind of honestly recognizing that these drivers have done a phenomenal job of finding a groove in the track early on and making it work for them. And you can see it, all these guys going single file, just playing it easy, being patient, waiting for their time to come, and ultimately might even just be waiting for the time to get on the gas and really give it the beans. There's a lot that you can do in these short tracks to help yourself kind of work your way through this grid. And playing it safe, playing it easy is definitely one of them, especially when you have these longer runs like we do here. Howie Briss getting a little bit of trouble from behind him. From the 92 of Tony Hilbrand's in that second place spot. They're working their way out of turn 4 once again here. We see someone down there in pit road that looks like James Coulibaly. We have an incident here with Matthew Fitz involved in the 69 machine. Let's see what happens here as he comes out of turn. Ooh! Comes out of turn 2 and smacks the wall with the front end of that 69 machine. That is a nasty wreck here, folks. You can see the wheel damage to the front end. Oh man, wheels hanging on for dear life. Just hoping it can stay attached to the 69 machine. And he's gonna stay out. I hope his crew chief or someone is in his ear telling him, hey buddy, you need to get that fixed there, guy. That's definitely not going to drive too well. There we go. Coming down here into pit road, going to get that issue fixed and worked out there. I was a little confuzzled there for a moment why he came by pit road the first time around. Probably just missed it and was too tied up just not being too happy about the whole situation in general here. But that's going to bring out the pace car here, folks. Lap 21 of 200, and frankly, I got to say, with knowing North Wilkesboro just a little bit, I got to say, folks, this is impressive that these guys are racing this well on a track that is, again, I said it at the beginning of the broadcast, it's not forgiving in any way, shape, or form. This track will eat you up and spit you out just as fast as you came out onto track. So it's going to be Howie Briss, Tony Hillbrands, Jaden Hopp, all going to be out here in front at the moment, leading 1, 2, 3. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be the last time we come around pit road here. And indeed it is. So once the pace truck, comes back around, we're going to go green flag racing here once again. And there it goes, back down into pit road. The green flag flies. It's Howie Briss, Tony Hillbrands out in front. Howie Briss going to take the lead here as they come down the back straight. We got drivers too wide all over the place. Just behind them, drivers fighting for position. Oh, look at that. The 4, Scott Shire, getting a little bit of a bump from Michael Keithley in that 53. You can see all these drivers here doing absolutely everything they can here on this restart. It's absolutely critical that you do so. There's not going to be a whole lot of other opportunities where you're going to be able to get on the bumper of the driver in front of you and, well, really give them some pressure and have all these opportunities for passing available to you this soon. So, Michael Keithley here in the 53 trying to do what he can, almost scraping the wall down the back straight as he battles with Scott Shire in the 7 machine down on his inside for that 7th place position. As they come across the line into turn 1 once again, Howie Briss and Tony Hillbrands, meanwhile, up front are both still duking it out up here, trying to do everything in their power to make this race happen for them as well. So as as Benny Hogan as well as Sean Williams here, both are going side by side, and looking behind them, you have even more action behind them forming. A lot of drivers here getting pretty wild here as far as trying to squeeze themselves into spots and fight for those positions again as early as possible. You can see Howie Briss and Tony Hillbrands slowly increasing that gap from themselves and the rest of the field. It's going to take a few more laps for that to happen, but that is definitely something to keep an eye out for. As we're going to ride on board here with Charles Jurek in the 76 machine for just a little bit to see some of the action from 10th place perspective. As he goes down on the inside, Daniel Mosteller in the 87 machine just out in front of him, holding on to that 9th place spot. You can see Charles kind of going a little bit wide there. Not sure if he oversped that entry. We got it back together there. Very, very nice work from the 76 of Charles Jurek. As Michael Keithley, Scott Shire here, both still duking it out side by side for this 7th place spot. both door to door here. You could see a little bit of paint's lost on that number 4 on the driver's side door. You'll probably even see it as well on the passenger side if we get another good camera angle of it. But they're so close to one another that it's hard to get a good angle of that. All of our drivers just starting to get themselves back into that groove that they all were in before that caution came back out. And if you're looking down on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you can see the track map and kind of give you an idea of what I'm alluding to here. You can see drivers already starting to split up a little bit just based on pace. You have Tony Hilbrand's Howie Briss both duking it out side by side here as they come down the front stretch into turn 1. Howie looking down the inside. Excuse me, that's Tony looking down the inside. They coming down the back straight. Howie putting a little bit more juice into that 97, but Tony's going to have that low line advantage as they come back out of turn 4 down the front stretch here once again across the checkered line. These two duking it out for this first place spot door to door for 2 laps now. Tony Hilbrand's trying to do everything he can in that 92 machine, but Howie, incredible pace in the 97 machine as he is giving it his all in this defense here. Oh, they're going to touch. Wow. Wow, that was impressive, actually. So I want to actually touch on that for just a moment. Now, if you were paying attention and you were looking closely and you kind of saw and maybe wondered to yourself, those two cars kind of looked like they touched and got into one another a little bit, and why didn't anything happen? Well, there was an interesting little update that iRacing released not too long ago that was intended to fix some of the issues that we have seen in previous broadcasts. Oh, look at this, the 85, Cody Welsh, a little sideways as he comes out of turn 2, down the back straight, keeps it together. As Jennifer Wonders in the chat was given a shout out to Cody Welsh in that 85 machine as we tuned to him. Started to have a little bit of a moment, but great driving out of that 85, keeping it together, keeping it on track. But back to my point here. iRacing, basically what their intention for that fix was to improve the side-by-side racing that we all know and love and are seeing here tonight. A lot of the issues that we were seeing before with the previous to the patch was you would have cars that would appear to get into one another, but you would go back, you'd look at the replay, and there would be nearly a foot and a half gap between the two cars. Excuse me. And it just kind of didn't make any sense for a lot of drivers, especially drivers that are in leagues like this that have a weekly commitment to races or whatever the case may be. Maybe they're professionals, maybe they're not. Point being, everyone wants to be able to have that side-by-side action and not have to worry about netcode being a factor in their race. As we have a 3-way battle for 11th. Kevin Foster in 11th place right now, trying to hold off Cody Welsh and Patrick Colby, as they both now are going to be side by side. We're going to see a little bit of that action, of that update work in action here, as you can see just how close they're going to get to one another, and you'll see that they'll be able to get even closer without getting into one another. It allows a lot more confidence in the driver, to gives them a little bit extra space, if you will. For a lot of sim racers, you're aware of the car the dimensions of it, you know, how much space you have to your outside or your inside, so on and so forth. But with, again, previous to the patch, you kind of had to add a little bit of a buffer to that, you know, a few inches here and there, so that way you wouldn't have to deal with those issues. And not everyone's internet's going to be the same. Not everyone's going to have the same connection or the same equipment as you. So there's always other factors. Whoa, wow, the 85. Cody Welsh. I'm not sure what's happening in that 85 machine right now, but he looks like he is just struggling to hold on to this machine right now. And he is fighting it tooth and nail, as he's got Thomas Sewell now on his inside in that 77 machine. Going to make a pass around. Oh, wow, look at that. Gives him a little bit of a bump down the front straight. Thomas Sewell keeps it together. Whoa, look at this, folks. Cody Welsh. He is fighting this machine. Let's ride on the inside here with Cody Welsh. And let's, oh, man, look at how much oversteer he's getting. My, oh my, folks. This machine is not looking friendly right now. Cody Welsh is fighting an absolute demon at the moment, trying to keep this 85 machine together and in one piece around the track. That has gotta be exhausting, as Scott Shire and Michael Keithley still have not left the doors of each other. Lap 54 of 200, over a quarter of the way through the race, and these two have not left each other's side, at least so it would seem. So these two having a phenomenal race here already. Look at this. Scott Shire going to be trying to sneak his way down the inside of Michael Keithley once more. And almost even seems like he's doing a little bit of fuel saving, a little bit of tire saving here as well. No one's come down into pit road yet except for a handful of drivers. Let's see, Patrick Colby, Tom Mercia, and Matthew Fitz. All three of those drivers have come down pit road at least once here already, but all of our other drivers here remain on track, and I expect to see someone come down here pit road fairly soon. I'm going to have to say probably, if my memory serves correct, around lap 75, if I'm remembering correctly here, with these cars at this track. I could be a little bit off here by 10 laps or so, but we're going to go with that assumption. We're going to say a lap 75, around that mark, give or take 10 laps, and I think that's the mark that these drivers are going to be hitting here, as these guys still side by side. I love to see it. And North Wilkesboro, again, oh man, you're seeing a lot of drivers here fighting these tires on these cars, as well as the grip starts to go away. You can even see Michael Keithley getting a little wobbly as he comes down the front straight. Tire wear definitely becoming a factor here in today's race. And I don't have the weather information for the track currently, but I wish we could see just how hot it is on that track right now currently. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do that right now here, but as we look right now, Scott Shire has gotten his way around Michael Keithley, but now Daniel Mosteller is slowly working his way through these drivers and possibly looking to take that 7th place spot from. There he goes, right around him. Wow. Daniel Mosteller must know something that these guys don't, or just might have something in the tank that is working for that 87. He seems to be absolutely pushing this machine around the track now, and that, you know, again, that might be, ooh, wow, right as I was about to say, he might be playing some of that fuel savings / tire saving strategy. Oh man, look at this. You can see it all over the track, folks. These drivers are fighting these cars now. They're getting close on those. Oh, Michael Keithley getting loose out of the turn 2, down the back straight he goes, gets it back together. Back into turn 2, but just behind them, Charles Jurek gets into the bumper of Kevin Foster for just a moment. Just a little bit of a love tap as they come down the front straight once more into turn 1. We got a nice little pack of cars brewing up here for this 10th/9th place spot at the moment. Patrick Colby down on the inside of Charles Jurek, and that 76 up on top. Coming into turn 1 once more. Patrick Colby's going to be looking to try and crack his way into the top 10 here, if he can do so. Man, oh man, just seeing these guys fight these cars as they inch closer and closer to that expected pit window. Here we go. Looks like we already have one driver coming down here into pit road. That's going to be Michael Ashmore. And it appears we have our second yellow flag of the night, as we work to find exactly what happened here. I'm not exactly certain. I have a feeling this might be what it was. So Michael Ashmore, yep, gets sideways as he tries to come down into pit road. I'm not sure if that was intentional. It might have been. He might have just came down a little bit too hot, a little bit too much speed. But either way, it's going to be the second caution, and that's going to allow drivers to come down pit road, get a fresh set of tires, fill up on that fuel, get ready for the next stint of their race here today. And with that being said, folks, we are on lap 68 of 100. The last couple drivers going to be making their way now into pit road. We're going to take a very quick commercial break. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We will be right back for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Don't go anywhere, folks, and we will be right back with more iRacing here on Team Goon Squad.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
And welcome back, folks, to the 2022 VRL Cup Series. We are here today for the North Wilkesboro 200. We are on lap 71 of 200 here, our second caution of the race. The second caution being brought out after a driver came down into pit road and got themselves a little bit sideways. And we are going to go back to green flag racing here as the pace car comes back. Pace truck comes back down into pit road and the green flag flies. Tony Hilbrands with the jump on the rest of the field. The 92 machine charging its way down the back straight here already. Jaden Hobb, Benny Hogan going to be side by side here as they come down here into turn 3 and out of 4. To the front stretch we go once again. Jaden Hobb, Benny Hogan back up here to the top. And I think Benny Hogan's actually... work as, oh no, gets a little loose out of turn 2. He's sideways down the back stretch. He goes. The 5 machine going to bring out the third caution of the night here. That, man, folks, that is the definition of cold tires and their effects. Benny Hogan not, oh man, not quite up to temp on those tires quite yet, and ultimately finding himself spun around. Let's take a quick look at the replay here. We'll stop things there. Let's back things up here just a little bit to get a better idea of how things unfolded here. So Benny, all on his lonesome, just gets that rear end loose a little bit. Comes down. Nicholas Lavelle not able to find anywhere on track to go. He gets collected in that as well, sending him down the inside of the back straight. So that's going to bring out our third caution here. And as we are just about to the halfway point for this race here, you know, I got to say, folks, with the racing that we have seen, you know, these guys just, they only continue to, they only get more and more creative as the night goes on, essentially, is what I'm trying to get at here. As these laps tick off, you know, they're starting to wonder to themselves, what can I do? What's going to happen here? How is this race going to unfold for myself if I just stay here, or if I actually try and do something? A lot of different things that drivers have to consider for these races. It's not all about just starting out in front and hoping for the best. It's a lot of strategy comes into play, making sure that not only are you hitting your marks and being fast and consistent, but also managing your tires, managing your fuel, working with your pit crew to ensure that when you do come down into pit road, it is worth your time and not a second more. The Cody Welsh fan club here today, joining us in chat for the race. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in and joining us. I hope everyone is enjoying the race thus far, and hopefully everyone is ready for drivers to go green flag here once again. As the lights are off on the pace truck, and once we come out of turn 4 here, we are going to see that green flag fly once again, and I expect to see that 92 of Tony Hilbrand's up on top right now in that purple, black, and green paint scheme. Launch his way as the green flag flies, and there he goes, the 92 working his way into turn 1 and out of 2 down the back straight with almost a half a second of a gap between himself and the rest of the field. Doing everything he can to increase that, and just behind them, Jaden Hopp, Sean Williams, Howie Briss, 1, 2, and 3. 2, 3, and 4, actually. Excuse me. Oh, no. Another yellow flag comes out here. It looks like... I actually don't know who this was this time. I think this might be Nicholas Lavelle. Let's take a look here. Ooh, yep. Definitely Nicholas Lavelle. Okay. That was an easy one to figure out. Corey Mitchell in the chat, almost like small Richmond. Yeah, Rich. Yeah, I think you got that one right, Corey. As we take a look here, Nicholas Lavelle in the 10, almost look. Oh wow! So he was in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich there, kind of just on the outside of it, and Bill Harkins just barely clips the front end of that 10 machine, and obviously not intentional. These drivers just driving very close to one another, really getting into the feel of things. But I want to take another look at this. I want to back things up here once more. I want to see just how close these two got to one another. So taking another look here. So yeah, you can definitely tell that things are a little bit more improved on the side of how your position is determined in these simulated events. So seems like the fix is working from iRacing. Drivers are definitely able to get a lot closer to one another. Now, there are still some factors that come into play that have to be considered, but we won't go into the nitty-gritty details. We are not Linus Tech Tips. So, lap 83 of 200 here, folks. The third yellow flag of the race here. Excuse me, the fourth yellow flag of the race here. This one coming out just after the third. And I gotta say, North Wilkesboro, it's coming back to prove that, hey, you know what? Having a green flag run here isn't always going to work out in your favor. So as Tony Hillbrands leads the race, Jaden Hopp, Sean Williams in second and third respectively. Let's take a quick look at our points standings. Things are a little bit small here, folks. That's actually, I'm going to adjust that here a little bit. It'll be a little bit small for you folks at home. I do apologize for that, but we will work on that for the next time. But you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, Howie Brisk currently leading in the points championship with Nick Nickerson in second, Nicholas Lavelle in third, Jeffrey Fisher in fourth, Sean Williams in fifth, Benny Hogan in sixth, James Miller in seventh, James Koulibaly in eighth, Colby Kersey in ninth, and Tony Hillbrands, currently our race leader, in 10th as we go green flag here once again. Corey Mitchell saying, it seems like you're never out of the turns here. And yeah, you know, North Wilkesboro is very, very deceiving in that way. These straights are very short. And you're right. It almost doesn't seem like there hardly even is a straight here because of how small they are. It's, you know, once you're in it, by the time you start to get comfortable and get your car settled, you're already turning again. So this track is definitely very, very taxing on the driver. You're definitely always making sure that you're hitting that mark every single time. It's going to be a lot. And as we have another flag fly here, Matthew Fitz involved. We're going to take a quick look at the replay here. Driver out in front of him getting loose into one. Oh, he tries to avoid it. Smacks into the 12 of James Koulibaly. Let's take a look at what happened here to the 12. James gets into the 5 of Benny Hogan. Smacks his door just a little bit. Oh, man. Matthew Fitz not able to find anywhere else on track to get around that. Definitely an unfortunate situation, and going to be the 5th caution for the race here today. Lap 90 of 200. 10 laps before we are at the halfway point. And I got to mention here as well, drivers are, well, I guess not relatively now. They should be pretty well warmed up at this point. It just seems like it wasn't that long ago, but drivers seemingly at the start, when they came down pit road the first time, lap 67, to all get those fresh set of tires. Drivers were fighting those cold tires. Definitely had a couple cautions come out because of that. And now that we're kind of getting back into the groove of things once again, I gotta wonder if some drivers might be struggling a little bit with grip. If the track is maybe a little hot at the moment, I would have to imagine that if your track is a little bit hot and your tires are a little cold, that's not the best mixture, I would have to imagine. So gonna have to question some drivers about that and see exactly what the situation is and how that's unfolding for some of our drivers here. But It's going to be Tony Hilbrands and Howie Briss. Jane Hopp here again on this restart. After only 2 drivers were collected in that last incident here. So Matthew Fitz and James Coulibaly going to both find themselves out. James in 17th right now. Matthew Fitz down in 19th and down quite a few laps here as well. And Corey, the length of the track is actually 0.62 miles in length. So as the lights are off on the pace truck and we're coming into turn 3, drivers bobbing and weaving around, getting those tires ready, warmed up and ready to go for this next restart here. The pace truck going to dive down here into pit road, lap 93 of 294 as we cross the checkered line. It's going to be Tony Hilbrands out in front here once more. Howie Briss, Sean Williams going to be side by side for just a moment, but Howie Briss not staying there for very long. He's going to get back onto the bumper of that 92. Going to try and squeeze his way into the inside if he could possibly do so. Tony throwing that block, staying out in front of this. Whoa, folks. We are getting mighty spicy here right off the start. Look at these drivers all duking it out for position, but the one that matters the most is the one up here for first place. Tony Hilbrand still holding it on, trying to give it his all, holding on to that position. And Howie Briss trying to squeeze his way around that 92 as much as he can, get squeezed up to the inside, to the outside wall, excuse me. Back around the front stretch here, across the checkered line, they're still door to door. We're going to check back in here with our fan favorite, Cody Welsh, in the 85 machine, in 10th place currently. In quite the package of drivers here. We have drivers 2 wide all around Cody Welsh, and he is going to find himself on the outside right now of Charles Jurek in the 76 if he can get his way up there. Charles, a little bit of a slip up out of turn 2. He's going to fall back a position, given the 9th place spot to Cody Welsh. Cody in the 85 now going to be trailing behind Thomas Sewell. Down the inside he goes. Out of turn 2, down the back straight. Is Cody going to be able to have enough here to get around Michael Keithley as well? Coming out of turn 4. And onto the front straight. Michael Keithley still holding on. Trying to do everything he can here to defend his position, but Cody Welsh absolutely giving it his all. Michael Keithley scraping the wall there of the outside wall down the back straight. That's going to cost him a few seconds of time. And look at these drivers behind them. Nicholas Lavelle, who we saw involved in an incident earlier on in the race. He's already back up here in 10th place. Benny Hogan, Thomas Sewell. All of these drivers here as well been doing an incredible job of working their way through this field, through this pack, trying to be a competitive force here in today's race. Benny Hogan on the inside of Thomas Sewell as they come out the front straight here into turn 1. Keeping it calm, keeping it steady. Every one of these drivers here is trying to find that spot that worked for them and get back into it. Checking back in with our race leader, Howie Briss, has actually taken the lead from Tony Hilbrands and is now trying to increase that gap from the 92 machine and see where he can place himself. And now, if you'll remember here as well, just taking another look here at our point standings. I apologize that if you can't read the names too well, we will work on that for next time. We'll make sure that everyone can see it nice and clearly. But these are the point standings after the race at Atlanta for the Hot Atlanta 250. Howie Brisk currently holding on to the points lead and currently leading this race here after having Tony Hilbrand, who's in 10th place currently, find himself in the front and still holding on to that second place spot. So there's definitely battles happening both on track as well as for points, and if you're Tony Hilbrand, this is going to be huge for yourself for the point standings. And if you're able to get yourself even a podium finish like he is in right now, that's going to have a massive impact on your point standings. As the yellow flag flies here once again, it's going to be James Coulibaly once more, it seems, involved in a wreck. Let's see what happens to the 12. The front stretch, and yeah, those rear not able to keep that grip. The rear end might have even possibly gotten onto the gas a little bit too early, and just lost that rear end from him. Wonder if we're gonna get a 100-lap green flag stint. Well, I think the bets are off for that one now, as the caution has come out here once more. The 6th caution of today's race. So drivers definitely starting to feel the effects of North Wilkesboro, and I have a feeling that it has something to do with the temperature of the track starting to heat up as drivers complete more and more laps here. So definitely going to be fighting for grip, and it's going to be an interesting rest of the race here, as drivers are going to come down pit road and get themselves ready for the next stint here of today's race. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We will be back for more of the 2022 VRL Cup Series, the North Wilkesboro 200. Stay tuned, folks, and we will be back with more iRacing here on Team Goon Squad.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the pit one is out.
And welcome back, folks. We're going to come out of turn 3 and out of 4. That pace truck, down pit road it goes. And the green flag will fly here with Michael Keithley now in the lead. Benny Hogan, Jaden Hopp, 2nd and 3rd. Nothing's changed there for those two drivers, but Michael Keithley, after the race leaders came down into pit road, that gave the 53 the door to take the lead. But we have drivers 3 wide here. Tony Hilbrand's going to be involved in that mix. Sean Williams here as well. Doesn't last very long. Drivers separating. Oh, wow. That did not take very long. Thomas Sewell involved in a wreck just behind. All of these drivers up in front in that Miller Lite. 77. Oh, that was a nasty snap. Oh. Ouch. I hope that Thomas doesn't have a direct drive, because that looked like it hurt. I want to look on the inside here of of Thomas Sewell. Kind of go into slow motion here and just observe what happened, because that looked like it was absolutely nasty. Okay, it starts right there. Yep. Full on slide. Oh man. And he wasn't even going that fast. If you look at his he really wasn't going that fast. If you look at his RPMs as well, he was slowing down, and then boom, right there, snaps it. Oh, man, that is rough. Wow. Thomas Sewell. Seemingly having a good race here tonight as well, but that 77 machine just came back and bit him. But you know what, folks? North Wilkesboro, that's what this track is kind of known for. It gets very, very rowdy the hotter this track gets. I've seen it time and time again where, drivers are doing incredible for the first 50, 75 laps, and as that track starts to warm up, tires aren't able to get any grip. Drivers are sliding all over the place. They're not able to get on the throttle as early as they normally would for some of these turns, just simply because there's not any grip there. Not as much as there was at the start of the race. So a lot of different things that you have to kind of consider on the fly. Track conditions changing all the time throughout the race. So lap 8's 118 of 200. Just over the halfway point through the race, working on getting our way to that 3/4 mark. We're just about there. As the lights go off on the pace truck, drivers are going to start their bobbing and weaving once again, getting those tires warmed back up and ready for the next restart here. Jaden Hopp, Michael Keithley going to be side by side. Daniel Mosteller, Tony Hilbrand's back up here in the top 4 on this restart here as well. Let's see what these drivers are going to do. Pace truck is back into pit road. The green flag will fly. Michael Keithley trying to get his jump on the rest of the field here, getting his way in front of the 81 of Jaden Hopp there. We're looking at Tony Hilbrand's in the 92 currently as he tries to work his way back up to the front of this pack. Coming into turn 3 with the 87 of Daniel Mosteller down on his inside, out towards the front stretch. Mosteller gets a little bit loose, keeps it back together. Back into turn 1 we go. We have drivers behind them all duking it out for positions. It seems battles in the mid-pack are where it's at, and where we seem to have a lot of our issues stem from is these drivers just absolutely giving it their all here in these middle pack races that we have brewing. Oh man, the Scott Shire though, he gets a little bit of a love tap from the 85 of Cody Welsh. We stay green. No one else gets collected in that. Everyone else doing a great job checking up, not letting that wreck get any worse than it already was starting to look like it was going to be there. Excellent work there from the rest of the field. Scott Shire holding on to that 13th place spot. But looking back up here, 3rd place, Michael Keithley a little bit in trouble here as he's starting to get passed by all the drivers that have been working their way up to the front here. Look at all these drivers fighting this absolutely slick track. And I want to have a moment here. Let's ride on board with Nicholas Lavelle, and let's have a couple laps here and just listen to the number 10 machine as he, oh nope, let's actually not do that as he gets a little loose out of 1. Brings it back together out of turn 2 onto the back straight. Wow, that did not go the way that I intended it to. Charles Jurek in the 76 down the back straight here. Getting his way to the rear end of the 53 of Michael Keithley as he starts to get a little bit of pressure now from Howie Briss, our points leader. Oh man. And actually, you know what? Now this is actually probably the perfect time here to ride on board with our championship leader, Howie Briss, in the 97. Oh, no! Michael Keithley, Charles Jurek involved in a wreck. Let's take a look here. Charles smacks. Oh, my gosh. That was a nasty wreck. Oh, that looked like it hurt. All right. Let's take things into slow motion here. Let's actually look at Michael Keithley's perspective here. Gets a little bit of a tap from Charles Jurek. Smacks. Oh, man. You know, and while the damage models for these cars are not completely 100% accurate, you know, just seeing all of that carnage just unfold is just pure insanity. Look at this. Bang! That whole front end is just completely disintegrated. Howie Briss barely escapes that. Barely escapes that. Look at the 53 of Michael Keithley down in pit road. That machine is mangled and torn in every single way imaginable. A controlled slide might be able to help you out here. And you know, in some of the other leagues that I've worked with that have raced these super late models on this track, you know, oh man, you start to get into this point in the race where you're starting to slide. That is almost what you have to do in order to stay in the lead. You have to be able to hold that slide and stay in control and be able to ride it out. Because again, folks, if you're not familiar with kind of how the track and how your tires and all these other things kind of affect you over time, you're as a driver, you are fighting tooth and nail for grip. That is ultimately what we are seeing right now. We're not seeing a battle for the lead. We're seeing a battle for grip. That's pretty much what I would like to describe it as. And, you know, you're seeing it all over the place. You look at any part of the track, you're seeing drivers starting to wiggle and wobble all over the track. They don't even have to be in the turn for it to affect them. They could be well into the straight, and they start bobbing and weaving all over the place because their car is still trying to get settled. All of these factors coming into play. But the pace truck coming down into pit road, the green flag flies. Jaden Hopp in the 81 machine finally getting an opportunity to lead some laps here for the North Wilkesboro 200. As he does, he's going to get a nice clean gap away from the rest of the drivers behind him. Daniel Mosteller is going to be duking it out here with Tony Hillebrands, though. Sean Williams just behind him in the 89. Giving him a little bit of that bump draft as we come back down the front straight into turn one here once again. Mosteller in the 87. Starting to get a little bit of a gap between himself and third place driver Tony Hillebrands. But Tony it's known that he's going to be able to get back up here into the front very, very shortly. Especially as the race is winding down here extremely fast. So Cody Welsh in the 85 all the way up into fourth place now. He's going to see if he can hold on to this spot. Lap 136 of 200. There's still quite a few laps left here to go. lot of drivers starting to fall single file here, but looking behind all of the drivers behind them, we see James Coulibaly almost getting involved here with Kevin Foster. For just a moment, it almost looked like they were going to collide. Here we go. Oh, no. Thomas Sewell. Another bit of an incident here. Let's see what happens. Oh, the slide starts out of 2. Yeah, and we've seen that already a couple times where drivers have found that same exact spot on the track, and it's just been slick. Very, very slick on that portion of the track. So that's going to bring out our 9th caution of the race here today. And with that in mind, folks, we're going to go to another short commercial break here. Give myself an opportunity to dry my parched throat, and we will come back to some more of the North Wilkesboro 200 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be back with more iRacing here on Team Goon Squad.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here at Daytona. The big one is out.
And we're back, folks, for the North Wilkesboro 200 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. As the pace truck comes across the line, once again, the lights are going to go off. Excuse me. We are just about to the halfway point through this race, and I have to imagine that this might be, well, actually, based on what I'm seeing here, based on timing, this race might not end the way things are shaping up as it seems, and I'll explain more as the green flag flies. Jaden Hopp currently leading the race. Daniel Mosteller going to be side by side with Cody Welsh. Tony Hillebrand's in 4th place, currently kind of trying to track down these leaders here once more. And the point that I'm trying to make here just a moment ago, some of our drivers here that are out in front came down pit road lap 108. Now, we're seeing drivers come in. Last time it was about lap 70 or so. When the yellow flag came out the first time, that we seen drivers come down into pit road and take that set of tires initially. So I gotta wonder here if some of these guys up front are going to be coming down here into pit road before the end of the race, and how that's going to affect our leaders. If that is true, the next driver to take the lead will be either Benny Hogan or Patrick Colby. But we'll have to see how that shapes up and how things stack up here, as we still have drivers fighting for positions all over the track right now. A lot of our field up here in the front has fallen single file as they come into turn 3 and out of 4. down the front straight here once again. Cody Welsh all the way up into that second place spot here, just in front of Tony Hillbrands in the 92. Tony holding on to his third place spot, but he is going to find every open spot that he can take to get his way even further up this field. He might even try and retake that lead here if he can do so. But Cody Welsh, a little bit more speed out of that 85. He's going to come away with just about almost a half a second of a gap. But Tony Hillbrands, very experienced driver. He's going to close that up here very quickly. And, you know, I almost expect Tony to put himself back up into that second place, even first place spot here before the next few laps. I would have to say we've seen quite the drive out of that 92 machine. And speaking of drivers that we've seen the drive out of, Howie Briss. Oh, I almost said the wrong name there. Howie Briss also up here with Tony Hillbrands. These two drivers have seen each other fighting for this lead all race long, and currently fighting for third right now. A little bit different of a feeling, I'm sure, for both of these drivers, but just behind them as well, they're trailing a long string of other drivers just behind them. So Daniel Mosteller in fifth place right now in the 87, going to be trailing behind Howie Briss in the 97, just kind of giving a little bit of draft support. Also just trying to stay with the pack here. Oh, man, look at that. So again, folks, like I was mentioning earlier, these drivers are going to be fighting this track. This track is going to be hot, hot, hot. So, you know, honestly, it would have been a better fitting name to call this the Hotboro 200. Considering last week we were at Hotlanta 200, this track just, you know, not a driver's friend when it starts to heat up, especially when you're doing 200 laps here. You have 19 drivers all on track. Actually, correction, by my count, we only have 17 currently on track at this moment, but either way, you still have 17 cars all burning rubber on track and ultimately going to be fighting for that grip. And look at this, Kevin Foster, almost a victim to the same fate as we've seen multiple drivers fall into here as well. Scott Shire in that 4 machine just on his inside here as well. Well, let's take a look back up here at the fan favorite, Cody Welsh. Little bit, oh man. He's got room in front of him, but he's got Tony Hillbrands now on his inside coming into turn 1. The 92 successfully able to get his way around into that second place spot. And now Cody Welsh is going to have trouble from the 97 of Howie Briss as they come into turn 3 and out of 4 to the front straight. Even see Howie Briss starting to get a little bit of slip there in the 97, holding it together extremely well in this race. 160 of 200, 41 laps left to go here at North Wilkesboro before the checkered flag flies. So time is ticking. These drivers don't have a lot left to work with, and for the drivers that came in lap 108, I am going to be expecting them to come in the next probably 20 laps before this end of the race. So I'm curious to see how this is going to affect our field and how things are going to shape up here as we get closer and closer to the end of the North Wilkesboro 200 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Sean Williams now giving a little bit of pressure to Cody Welsh in the 85. Cody falling back into 5th place now. Gonna have Nicholas Lavelle in the 10. Man, both of these drivers down on his inside. Cody Welsh in the not the greatest spot on the outside there, especially with the string of drivers all kind of trailing one another. And the yellow flag comes out here with Michael Ashmore involved in this one. Let's take a look at what happens here to the 98. Oh man, that definitely looked like it was an overdrive there. So this is a really good example here of what happens when you just get really, really hot on the throttle too early. So we can see here on the inside and watch the RPMs. Yeah, just dips right on down as eesh. That is rough. That is rough for Michael Ashmore. It even seemed like he was feathering that throttle as well, just trying to keep it easy, but just that little bit of margin of error, and it's enough to set you back. Yeah, Corey Mitchell, you're definitely right. Using a lot of brake here, you want to get yourself turning in as quickly as possible, and you know, given how slick this track is, oh man, slowing these cars down enough while also maintaining your line, it's a tough balance. It's a really tough balance. But now that we're on our 10th caution here of the race, I want to ask everyone watching, everyone in the chat, I want to ask you guys, who's your favorite to win today's race, or who do you think has the chance to come away with the win for today's race? Currently in our top 5, it's Patrick Colby, Jaden Hopp, Tony Hillbrands, Howie Briss, and Sean Williams. And just to mention the fan favorite, Cody Welsh, holding on to that 6th place spot. You guys let me know in the chat, in the comments, who do you think is going to come away with the win for the North Wilkesboro 200. It's been quite an interesting race, and this lead has changed quite often. So it's anyone's opportunity here. I think there are plenty of drivers that can take away this win, and even if it is by just being in the right place at the right time, this is definitely the time in the race where anything can happen here, especially with a restart, only 32 laps left to go. And so far, we got 2 votes for the 85 driver, Cody Welsh. Again, holding on to that 5th place spot currently at this time. The lights are off on the pace truck here as we get ready to go green flag here once again. Pace truck making its way down into pit road. The green flag flies. It's Patrick Colby out in front on the outside line there as well. Seems to be that's the place you want to be on these restarts. It's the best spot to give you the best entry on turn 1. Jaden Hopp, though, doesn't last very long for that lead. Oh my gosh, Howie Briss, Tony Hillbrands, they both go door to door. Oh, that's going to send Howie Briss back far, far back into the field here. Howie all the way back down into 5th place now. There's drivers side by side all over this field. Jaden Hopp taking this lead. Tony Hillbrands taking advantage of the fact that his competitor has fallen back enough now to give him a little bit of room to work with. Only just a little bit. He's only just a few cars behind. Tony Hillbrands is going to have to really step it here to make something happen. Let's ride on board with Howie Briss. It seems like every time we go on board with any of our drivers, things start to really spice up here. So let's see if that holds true this time around. The 97 working its way down into turn 1 here. Once again, he gets a little bit sideways after a little bit of contact from the 85 of Cody Welsh. The 85 holding on to that 4th place spot here, coming into turn 3. Hanada 4, look at this. Nicholas Lavelle, Scott Shire gets into the back of the 10 machine. That sends him back just a little bit. 3 wide is absolutely right. We have drivers going 2, 3 wide all over the place after that restart. Now that we've had a little bit of time here, a couple laps for drivers to settle themselves out, but there's still battles happening. Especially between that of Charles Drew. Wow, look at this. 3 wide. Oh, whoa, they collide. Charles Jurek up into the outside wall of turn 3. That's going to send the 76. Oh, man. Yet again, the caution flies with only 25 laps left to go. Oh, no. These drivers have definitely got to be quite little on the edge at this point, I would have to say. And if you're looking at your timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen and you're wondering to yourself why it says Wilkesboro 20,024 to go, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm only kidding. Just a little bit of oversight on the SDK portion of things. Software is not always perfect when displaying our text information here. It doesn't always like to fit itself properly, if you will. So it is not 20,024 laps left to go. It is only indeed 23. So, from our chat, we have 3 votes for Cody Welsh to take home the win and 1 for Tony Hilbrands. Tony, after a strong start to this race here, he was fighting Howie Briss for quite some time, finding himself back down kind of midfield, kind of back towards the top 10. He's had to work his way back up here to this second place spot, and he has fought tooth and nail to keep it. Now, will he be able to take home this win? That remains to be seen here, especially as all of our drivers have taken advantage of the couple cautions that we've seen here. All of our drivers came down pit road on lap 165 that are on the lead here. So we might possibly see the 81 take home the win here, but that is only going to be if he is able to hold off Tony Hilbrands in that 92. Now, Tony has shown that he is more than capable of getting away from this field and just launching on the starts. So Jaden here, this start has to be perfect for him. He's going to take the outside line on this start. Now, again, if you were here for the last one, this is the spot that you want to be. This is going to give you the best position for the turn-in on turn 1. You're going to be able to turn in with a lot more speed than the guy on your inside. He's going to have to slow down a lot more because if he doesn't, he's going to find himself up in the wall or into another car, which, as we are about to go green here, as the pace truck dives down into pit road, is always a likely scenario. Jaden Hopp, though, taking that outside line start, does so quite brilliantly. Tony Hilbrands here going to be side by side with his opponent, Howie Briss. Howie absolutely sends it into turn 3, goes sideways into turn 4. He is going to find himself all the way down into 15th now with 19 laps left to go. That was, oh, wow, folks. Howie Briss, that could not have gone any worse. Here he goes, he tried to send it into turn 3. He was trying to give it his all with Tony Hilbrands there, and that was just too much for the 97. Man. That's, and Howie here has had such a phenomenal race that, and here he comes down into pit road. I almost got to think that Howie's He's probably going to call it. All the way down here into 15th, I gotta imagine that Howie's not going to be too thrilled. Corey Mitchell, even if you're up front, you're not safe. And that is 100% a fact. When you know, and that honestly brings up an interesting point here while we're still following around the pace car. A lot of drivers, new drivers especially, rookies is the proper term we'll use here, you get the misconception that you have to start first. You have to start in the front of the race. You know, if you don't, you're going to lose. And that is absolutely and almost inexcusably incorrect. It's one of those situations where if you're starting out in first, it is because you have shown in qualifying, or at least in just skill in general, that you have the pace and you have the ability to stay out in front. Now, qualifying doesn't exactly mean that you're going to be able to stay out in front for a 200-lap race. You only qualify for 2-3 laps. So those are things that you have to consider, you have to bear in mind. You might not be a driver that is able to compete out in front. You might be someone who's more comfortable in mid-pack or maybe even towards the rear until you get yourself more comfortable. So, and that is the beautiful thing about sim racing in general. It allows that learning to happen. As we go green flag here once more for the North Wilkesboro 200, Jaden Hopp taking the lead here. Tony Hilbrand's in that second place spot here, trying to fight his way back up into that first place position. Nicholas Lavelle, Kevin Foster, both door-to-door here out of turn 4. Well, we're door-to-door there. As they come out the front straight into turn 1, you can see Nicholas Lavelle still fighting this track, trying to find that grip. Drivers going 3 wide, 2 wide, all over the place here. The action is brewing with only 13 laps left to go, but Jaden Hopp, he is trying to get himself away from this carnage and hopefully try and take away this win here. It's Cody Welsh still on the inside of Nicholas Lavelle for that 5th place position. Coming out of turn 4 once again down the front straight. Cody trying to hold on to that inside line here. 11 laps left to go. Jaden Hopp starting to see a little bit of pressure from Tony Hilbrand's as we enter 10 laps left to go. Tony on the inside of the 81. He's going to come down the back straight on the inside into turn 3. Tony Hilbrand's going to quite possibly take the lead, but no. Jaden Hopp, a little bit of drive there out of the 81, sticks it into that first place position, but drives it a little bit wide out of 2. No, that actually worked out in his favor. But Sean Williams now starting to come into the mix here. The 89 machine getting very close to the rear end of that 81. Tony Hilbrand's going to now take the lead here, as Sean Williams now working his way around Jaden Hopp, but the caution flies here with Nicholas Lavelle involved. And almost right on cue, Corey Mitchell. Right on cue. Let's take a look at Nicholas Lavelle here. Looks like a little bit of self-spin Well, not even a self-spin, but just a self-slide. Oh, twice. Not once, but twice. Out of 4 and into 1 as well. So, folks, 13 cautions that we've had here for the North Wilkesboro 200. Now, I would have to imagine once we come back to green flag, it's going to be our first GWC attempt. Now, there are 3 that we are given for this race. And you know what? It might not even be the first one, technically. I take that back. So, with that in mind here, and we've kind of seen this happen for this series a couple times already, where we've kind of entered this last 5-10 laps, and we've had a caution come out that has put us kind of in this very weird spot where it's the final battle, but things just keep changing. And Cody Welsh already in the chat, watch one more caution before the end of this race here. So we'll see, folks. We will see if that holds true, and if any of our predictions, any of the predictions that we've made here throughout the race as far as who's going to take home the win here, hold up to be true. Lights are off on the pace truck. This is it, folks. Our first GWC attempt of the race. Will we stay green, or will we see someone wreck once again and bring out the caution once more for our second GWC? As we come into turn 3 and out of 4, let's find out. Pace truck is in. Tony Hilbrand's out in front. Sean Williams in second. Tony Hilbrand's with the launch. Into turn 1 we go. Side by side, our drivers are going. Everyone doing a fantastic job here, just trying to hold things steady. Three wide back. Oh, wow. Almost a little bit of action there from Benny Hogan. Cody Welsh here in 6th place, trying to get his way back up. Final lap, the white flag has flown. Tony Hilbrand's out in front. The checkered flag has flown. Out of turn 4, down the front stretch, it's Tony Hilbrand's, Sean Williams, and Kevin Foster taking home 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And surprisingly, no one, actually Bill Harkins looks to be involved in an incident there, but wow. That was quite the race, if I do say so myself. Tony Hilbrand's taking home the win after just a phenomenal race here, folks. So as Tony Hilbrand's makes his way back out onto track and get ready for a celebratory lap and burnout, we're going to go ahead and get our post-race results up on screen for you folks at home. And there you can see him now. Tony Hilbrand's taking home the win. Sean Williams in 2nd. Kevin Foster 3rd. Jaden Hopp 4th. Daniel Mosteller 5th. Cody Welsh 6th. Benny Hogan 7th. Howie Brisson 8th. Scott Shire in 9th. Charles Jurek in 10th. Patrick Colby in 11th. Nicholas Lavelle in 12th. James Coulibaly in 13th, Thomas Sewell in 14th, Bill Harkins in 15th, Michael Ashmore in 16th, Matthew Fitz in 17th, Michael Keithley in 18th, and last but not least, Tom Mercia in 19th. So, as we go ahead and get ourselves ready for some post-race interviews, the first driver up on our list is going to be the number 8 of Kevin Foster. Let's go ahead and pull him in here. Kevin, sir, do you have a read? One second, folks. Kevin, sir, do you have a read?
I do.
Kevin, after realizing that my push to talk was on for some reason, Kevin, this was quite an interesting race. We had, at the beginning of the race, the track seemed fine. Everything seemed relatively calm. You know, everyone was finding their groove on the track. Everything was starting to look pretty solid. And then about lap, I want to say 60, 70 or so, we started to see drivers really struggle with grip. Kevin, walk me through the race tonight and kind of tell me about what it was like trying to just keep your car on this track here today.
Well, definitely this car track combination, it's definitely, you have to be patient. You can't overdrive the corner, even though you want to, but with this car, it's so difficult to, hit the line every lap, and it's so easy to overdrive. But the thing is keeping the tires underneath you, because off of 2 and 4, it definitely wants to step out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and as we had kind of periodic cautions kind of spread out throughout the race, we had a couple back-to-back ones. What was it like kind of working your way through this field and kind of just managing all these drivers that were all seemingly struggling with the same issue?
Just, the biggest thing about this track, it does have multiple grooves. It does have a high line, which I was utilizing there. You have to be where they're not. And then once we got spread out, everyone seemed to run like the middle line, and you had an option to either, dive underneath them or go above them. And that's what, ultimately, leads to passes. And we were able to work our way from the 9th starting position, fell back there early in the run. I didn't get much practice, and worked my way back up to the front, and utilizing the high line. That's what I made 90% of my passes was on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seemed like that is where most drivers were successful. The inside line seemed to work pretty well for drafting, but as far as just staying consistent with your speeds, it definitely seemed like staying to that middle to high line worked for a lot of drivers here tonight. But Kevin, I want to congratulate you on taking home 3rd place and a phenomenal job on tonight's race. And you definitely found yourself in a couple scrapes and bangs throughout the race, and I definitely caught some of those on camera. So if you ever
awesome,
if you find yourself watching the broadcast back, you'll find yourself in a couple of those situations. But Kevin, before I let you go here tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone in the pit crew, or anyone at home that you want to shout out or thank before you go?
Certainly. I want to thank Tony and the rest of the guys. I don't run this season, full time here. I'm here on a part-time schedule. I just want to thank each and every one of these guys and Tony for letting me come here and participate every couple of weeks. And just want to thank friends and family, my beautiful wife downstairs for supporting me. And thank you guys for broadcasting it.
Absolutely, Kevin. Well, thank you again for coming up here and joining me in the booth. And congratulations once again on your 3rd place finish for the North Wilkesboro 200. Kevin, I look forward to seeing you in your next race, and good luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Kevin. Have a great night. That's Kevin Foster in the 8 machine out of the booth, taking home 3rd place for tonight's race. Up next, it's going to be Sean Williams in the 89. Let's see if we can pull him in here real quickly. Sean, sir, do you have a read?
Oh, hey, you got me?
Yes, sir, I do.
There we go. What's up, Mason?
Sean, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great now.
Absolutely. Sean, this was an interesting race. Now, I was just talking to Kevin, and one of the things that stuck out to me the most, and I'm probably going to mention this to all of our drivers here tonight that I talked to. This track was very, very slippery. It seemed like everyone was fighting for grip, and it almost seemed like towards the end you kind of had to be a master of kind of sliding your car into the turns and just trying to keep it together. Sean, what was it like kind of working your way around North Wilkesboro, and what did you find worked best for you to hold on to that second place spot?
Basically just shutting my eyes and hoping everything worked out all right. But it was fun, like you said, slidey. I loved it. I'm not great at short tracks. I wish I was, because I love short track racing. And for whatever reason, this track, for some reason, I don't always do good here, but a lot of times I'll have some good finishes, and I don't know what sets it apart. But yeah, just sliding it around, you got to roll the corners, waiting on your throttle, but still like giving it the beans. It's like that mix of on the edge while still trying not to hit anything. And I think it's easier with this car because I don't know, this car feels different to me than every other car on iRacing, and I think it's the best oval car on iRacing. And maybe it's my wheel setup, I don't know, but I can really like feel where the grip is, and that is everything. So I was comfortable for a lot of it once I got into it after practice, and then yeah, there were so many fast people. I was just trying to do my own thing, not hit anybody, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, given all the cautions that we had throughout the race and having to restart 13 times, did that kind of have any effect on your mentality throughout the race, or did it kind of give you a little bit more confidence throughout it?
I was kind of just taking it in stride, I guess. I was expecting quite a few yellows. And so when you kind of go in there just preparing that you're going to have a lot of restarts and stuff, it's, I guess, not as stressful. And so even though like every time a yellow come out, I'd be like, oh man, you don't want a yellow. You just got to be ready for it and just kind of take it as it comes, and then just take each restart as it goes and work your way up from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming home with a second place finish, I mean, you got to be feeling pretty well with yourself. Sean, I want to congratulate you again on taking home second, and I want to give you the floor and give you the opportunity, give your shout outs to anyone watching at home, anyone in the pit crew that may be helping you and support you in your racecraft.
Yeah, thanks. First off, thanks to Tony for putting on the league, and congrats to him for winning tonight, and everybody who showed up to race, you for broadcasting, everybody who's watching. This was a lot of fun. Like, I love racing here, so I hope it was fun to watch. And then also a quick shout out to my friend Garrett. He made me a silly paint to run tonight, so I figured I'd run it. And I don't know, getting second is I might have to make it my permanent paint scheme, I guess.
It might be the lucky paint scheme that might bring you home the win more often. Sean, thank you for coming up here and joining me in the booth. With a little bit of luck from your new paint scheme, hopefully we'll get to see you up here in the booth more often. Sean, good luck to you next week, and I hope to get to talk to you again.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Absolutely, Sean. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too, Mason.
Sean Williams in the 89 machine, taking home second place for the North Wilkesboro 200. But last, and certainly not least, it's Tony Hillbrands coming home with the win in the 92 machine. Tony, sir, do you have a read?
10-4, how's it going?
Tony, I am doing quite fantastic. I'm sure you are feeling quite ecstatic yourself. Tony, the first question that I have for you right off the gate, you had quite the battle with Howie Briss for, I lost count of how many laps it was, but I know that you guys were door to door for countless laps. You guys were fighting for that first place position. We had a couple cautions come out. You guys found yourselves kind of lingering towards the top 5, top 10 in that area, having to work your way back. And in this last, I think it was the last 20 or so laps, Howie Briss kind of tried to give you the beans on the outside, and he found himself smacking the wall into turn 2. Tony, how are you feeling right now, and how are you feeling after kind of having that competition just be wiped away from your worries, essentially?
Well, first off, I just want to say that I'm extremely glad for the win, because I just broke a 49 race streak since my last win, and that bugged the hell out of me all last season. I couldn't get a win last season, but yeah, finally got that. And there was a lot of good battles. Yeah, Howie was really strong, and I think what he said is he just got in the gas a little too hard in the middle of that corner, and that's why he got loose and walked up there. But yeah, he was running well. Depending on how long the run was, Howie was definitely quick at the beginning. So was Jaden. Jaden he battled really strong there the second half of the race, and he stayed up there towards the beginning. But the longer the run went, I think my tires just came to me more than everyone else's, and I was really hoping we'd keep getting green flag runs, but then we had like 6 cautions like there in the middle of the race, and that kind of hurt me. But man, like there's I know we missed there's a few people I missed tonight, but there's a lot of strong people out there in this league right now, and every race you win is definitely well earned.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was one for the 92. I have to say, Tony, it was looking a little disconcerting up here in the booth. You know, we had drivers kind of swapping the lead as, you know, as cautions were kind of being thrown out, pit stops were starting to happen. A lot of different things were shaping up, and as we were getting closer to that final 30-20 laps, I was kind of wondering to myself, I'm like, man, you know, Tony Hilbrand's had quite the run earlier. Howie Briss as well. Both of these guys were both out in front, and soon enough, here you were up here. And honestly, I almost want to say, Tony, that last caution might have even helped solidify your lead here. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think if we didn't have that last caution, I had a really good shot. I think I took the lead right before it came out, which having the lead when the caution came out, that basically put me in I had to screw myself up to lose the race there, because if you started on the outside as the leader on the restarts, you could just sail off into one and not have to worry about anyone for a couple laps. So that definitely helped, but I would have liked it to go green without that last caution. But either way, I'll take the win. That was a long race. That was a long night.
Absolutely. And after a long night and a well-earned victory, Tony, I want to congratulate you on taking home the win tonight for the North Wilkesboro 200. And man, I'm speechless, Tony. You did a phenomenal job. You're 10th place in points currently, but after tonight, I'm sure you're going to give yourself a nice little bump up in positions there, and hopefully we'll see yourself up a couple more positions going into next week's race. But Tony, with that being said, the floor is yours. Who do you want to thank back at home in the pit crew or watching the broadcast? Who is to thank for your win tonight?
Well, I put in a lot of laps, so the win's all on me. But I want to thank everyone in the league for showing up, because they're all great drivers, and I'm ecstatic that they show up on a weekly basis and put on a hell of a show, because I think we put on some really good races for everyone this season, and then of all the people watching, all the fans that watch the races every week. I hope you guys enjoy the show, and then you guys for taking us on and broadcasting us this season. I think this is going to be a really good year for everybody involved.
Absolutely. It seems like this is going to be the season to watch. Folks, if you haven't already subscribed, I would do so, and stay tuned with all the action here with Velocity Racing League. This series is, gotta say, top-notch for a Monday night series. It's been awesome. Tony Hilbrands, thank you for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth, and congratulations once again on your race victory. Thank you for joining me here in the booth, and I look forward to seeing you next week for the Charlotte 250.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too, Tony. Thank you. Tony Hilbrands out of the booth with the win tonight in the 92 machine. And that's going to conclude the coverage for the North Wilkesboro 200 of the 2022 VRL Cup Series. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action tonight. I hope you all enjoyed what you have saw. If you did, please hit that like button if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. Just stay tuned and catch all of the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. Thank you all again for watching, and catch us again next week, same time, same place. See you all next time.
Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona's a Kenwood is out.